That's cool. That's so cool. I like it.
Me too. How did we get here?
Well, it's the magic of video.
Wow. I love it. I love it.
And
we're sharing it with you.
What of you? Hello.
Hi. Smile.
And wave.
Buster and Rosie really got a kick out of that, didn't they? Finally figured out a way to do a green screen. That was actual footage that we took at the park of Beatrice. So now, Buster and Rosie have been to the park with us. I thought it was special. Anyway, why not involve the pups in that, huh? Okay, back to the story. If you remember, we now have a new man in town. He's very young. He's probably about 20. He's a drug addict. He doesn't know how he got there, except that there was a gas station he was at that exploded, but it was not from the same road that Sheridan was. She's thinking, well, maybe it is a concussion. However, there is now a fire and a lot of smoke blocking the exit from Hidden, the one road out. So they are now both trapped there. And it's been a little frustrating, but now Sharon is starting to calm back down after freaking out. Diggory doesn't know what to think. That's the name of our young man, and we go on. Okay, Sheridan's back now. Diggory started laughing wildly, causing Sheridan to look up at him. You, he pointed at her face, you have a smudge of ash on your face. I don't think it's the right color for you. Oh, my Lord, Sheridan laughed at herself. I better wash up before I ask Catch anything. Can you imagine me trying to look serious with ash and soot all over me? Wait here, I'll be back after I clean up. Diggory smiled. It's just a small streak. I didn't even notice it until a minute ago. Well, that's good. It must have been a piece of ash from the fire, Sheridan replied. Hey, Sheridan. Diggory called after her when she got to the door. I'm sorry if I woke you last night. Catch said he tried to quiet me down, but I was so high. I think I smoked a couple of joints and did some coke before I got here. Sorry about that. Well, if you were high, that might explain why you don't remember getting to I-80, or even to here. Highway 50 does run into I-80 west of Omaha. If you turned west toward Lincoln, you may have come upon Hidden. Logically, that's most likely. Sheridan sighed sadly. Son, I hope you can get off that stuff. You will live a much better life without it. I know that. I think most of us on hard drugs do, but the drugs take over. Maybe if I'm here a while, I'll get through the hard part. They seem to have been expecting me. How is that? That old guy, Catch, took me to my room. It's all about my favorite stuff, like my poems, cataloged in a scrapbook. I didn't even remember that I wrote enough to fill a scrapbook that big. The walls are painted with a mural of flame, like on a race car. It's amazing how they got it all together. There's a lot more too. But the weirdest thing is, okay, a picture of a flower that they call the Lunas flower. I never was interested in flowers. This one has something about it. I asked who came up with the idea for that one. Catch said it's a real flower. Cool, huh? Diggory didn't wait for Sheridan to answer, as he continued with his fascination about the inn, and especially with this room, his room and Catch. My favorite sports magazines were even there. That bathroom, it's better than anything I've ever had before. I love the multiple shower heads. I swear after my shower this morning, just about every muscle felt like butter. He laughed, and Sheridan saw the joy in his eyes. He took a deep breath. He didn't say any more, but shrugged, raising his arms up and letting them fall to his side. Sheridan squelched her temptation to forewarn him and to take caution with falling for the aesthetics and amenities. She wasn't sure about the reasoning behind all the seeming foreknowledge of the townspeople, not only of visitors' arrivals, but also of their lives. She thought it best to let him make up his own mind. She was sure it wasn't a retreat or rehabilitation resort. She must have shaken her head to clear it. Lady, I think you need to come back to Earth as much as I do. Sheridan smiled. I'm sorry. Let's go back in, talk to Catch, and ask him a couple of questions. Then, if you don't care, I'll take you with me to the cafe, if you like. That sounds good. I'm starving, even though I had a bunch of that fruit this morning. Did you have a huge bowl of fruit in your room? Yes, and it's filled every day. She smiled at Diggory. To disturb his happiness would be wrong. Maybe his innocence about Hidden will carry him through his stay. He didn't seem in any hurry to go anywhere else anymore. Catch! Sheridan yelled when she didn't find him in the lobby or the room with all the memorabilia. He didn't answer, and she didn't feel like chasing him down. After the night she'd had and this morning's revelations, she didn't really want to deal with his head games. We'll talk to him later, Sheridan told Diggory. Come on, let's go get a sandwich. Cook makes the best sandwiches I've ever tasted. The two walked the short distance to the Hidden Cafe. Sheridan guided Diggory to the same booth she usually sat at. It was in the middle, along the wall, in front of a leaded glass window that dispersed the light through the crystal version of the Lunas flower. Hey, they have the flower three-dimensional here. Diggory's enthusiasm made Sheridan a little sad. She was happy for him, but it made her miss the energy and joy she'd felt when she was young, living simply in the Sahara Desert with Mark. He seemed to be coming to mind a lot more lately since she'd landed in Hidden. Hi, Sheridan, and I believe you are Diggory. What are you hungry for? Vida's bright voice flew across the room. I have sandwiches for all of us. How about some coffee before we take off? Sheridan looked at her puzzled. Then her eyes popped wider as she remembered the trip to the meadow that Vida planned for her. The meadow, I forgot, with all that's happened this morning. Vida shook her head. No matter, you're still here, and I have stuff ready to go. What's more, I'm going with you both. Hi, Diggory, I'm Service. Vida changed to her cafe identity and sat across from the two as Cook brought 4 teacups and a carafe on a silver tray. He set it in the middle of the table. This is Cook, Sheridan introduced the smiling man with the white apron. Wow, I don't think I've had tea from a tea set since I was a little girl. Well, then it's time you did, Cook observed in his full baritone. Diggory whispered, my grandmother served tea every day from a tea service just like that one. I even had the mismatched cup. That cup was mine. She said it made me extra special and unique. His voice quavered. Sheridan looked at him and saw the tears running down his face unchecked. Where did you get that set? Neither Cook nor Service answered. Service poured out the tea, handing the mismatched cup to Diggory. You deserve to drink from that cup again, Diggory, Service said almost like a prayer. You are special and very unique. I'm a danged useless addict. He almost spat his self-hatred, pulling his arms back above his head as if touching the cup might somehow burn him. No, Diggory, you are a wonderful young man who lost his way for a little bit. You are certainly not useless. Service injected. The young man carefully picked up the cup. He took a sip of the ginger-flavored tea with 1 cube of sugar. That's even the kind of tea she served. She was British and never lost that part of her heritage. She didn't immigrate until after my parents died. Then she died last year. Nobody said anything as Cook put the set on a table close by. Service put her hand, palm down, on the middle of the table, nodding at the others to do the same. Cook and Sheridan put their hands on top of hers, and finally Diggory placed his atop the pile. To the meadow, Cook announced, and the 4 raised their hands. To the meadow, they replied. And next is Chapter 8, which is The Meadow. They finally make it to the meadow. Well, pups, let's sing that good night song.
Okie dokie. That's gonna be it, huh?
Yep, we don't have any time.
Good night, good night. Don't let the bugs bite. Good night, good night.
Sleep till the daylight.
Good night, good night. Be kind to each other. Good night, good night.
Tell someone you love them. Ooh. And I love both of you. And everybody out there.
Aw, she's so sweet. I love you too.
So do I. I love you. Well, it's not a competition. But what else do we do? What else do we say?
Oh, don't forget to smile.
And wave. Please do subscribe. Click that notification button, bell, and give us a thumbs up, and be sure to come back tomorrow.
Yeah, we want to see ya. Night-night.
Good night.